Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Twin City Trio Podcast here on YouTube. My name is Cale Fleming, and alongside me are my two good friends, Gavin Campbell and Tyson Snyder. Gavin, how you doing?
What's up, bro? I'm doing good.
Tyson, what's going on?
Living, man.
That's what I like to hear. On today's rundown, we have a recap of the Purdue and Illini game. Not much to talk about there, though. And then next up on the rundown, we have the NFL as well as our high school picks from Week 8, as well as the NBA opening night tonight on Tuesday, October 16th.
Woo!
We're going to rank each team, we're going to go from the East and the West. We're going to rank them, see what we got. And then I'm going to go, normally I do my NHL 3 stars, but today I'm just going to throw out some stats and information for you guys as point leaders, point totals, and whatever else. But first, we're going to hop right into it here. We're going to talk about the Purdue and the Illinois game, or the visit coming into the Champaign, honestly. I was at the game. Gavin, you were over in Bloomington at the Illinois State Redbirds game.
Yes,
Tyson
sir.
was doing whatever Tyson does.
Yep.
Honestly, there's not much to talk about. We got smacked 49-7. We scored on our second drive of the game. We had a nice stop in the first quarter, but that was pretty much the determining factor of it right there. That was all she wrote. Let me put it this way, ladies and gentlemen, and Gavin, I have never left a sporting event that early in my entire life. I left right about the start of the third quarter. I mean, I left about 3 minutes in. So if that tells anything as to how Saturday went for the Illini, then that's all you need to know.
Well, they scored about 3 minutes in the third quarter, which put them up even bigger than what they were. So yeah, can't really blame you.
It was just an atrocious day for Illini football. I've got some questions about Lovie Smith. What's going to happen in his future if he does not turn it around next season? Then Josh Whitman's going to have to make a decision as to what's going to happen with Lovie's future at the University of Illinois. We got a rough game too next Saturday. We're going into Wisconsin. We're going to talk about it Friday. I'm not looking so hopeful for that game, which we knew we weren't going to win that game anyway. Purdue, we were 10-point underdogs. We should have won that game, honestly. But
Should have at least been competitive.
that we should have covered.
Well, and that's what we discussed on Friday.
Yes.
It should have been competitive, and it wasn't.
We were competitive.
Not even
in the
close.
We
first-
said even if we lost, we were only going to lose by 3, 7, maybe 10 points, but cover. It'll be close, but no one was really expecting 39 points.
They just looked absolutely horrendous, though. Defense was terrible. Blau was tearing them up. Their receiver, Purdue's receiver Moore, he was running all over the field on our secondary. Then they would put him in the back or right behind the quarterback. He was playing running back, and he was just tearing the defensive line up there as well. Not only to mention their running back DJ Knox was just doing whatever he wanted to do. Purdue was having a field day with Illinois. A lot of Purdue crowd there. I mean, West Lafayette's only about an hour and a half from here, so obviously there's going to be about a mix of – it's honestly 50-50, I'll say that. I went with my dad, and where we were sitting, it was about 50% Illini fans, 50% Purdue fans. That's not very good for a home game, especially on homecoming weekend.
Yeah, you would expect a bigger turnout, especially, like you said, for homecoming. But what can you do, right?
Halftime festivities were fun. I mean, we have one of the best marching bands in the state and the oldest marching band of any university ever.
One of the most stoic and respected marching bands at that. Hard to get into.
So out of that, marching band was fun to watch. I love watching college marching bands. Yeah, at least there's something positive to our homecoming game. I've got nothing else to say. If you guys got anything to add, go
Another
ahead.
positive, A.J. Bush ran 20 times for 24 yards and a touchdown, so he's definitely the answer.
He carried the ball so much Saturday. Like, I looked at my dad and I said, I don't think I've ever seen a Big Ten quarterback carry the ball this much. And you know how last week we were saying, well, some of these weren't designed runs? Most of these were designed runs. Almost 50%. Well, I'll say this. Almost 70% of these were designed. You know, I understand that.
And he got a whopping 24 yards. Look at him go.
Yeah, that one run he busted out on but got called back because of offensive holding on Polcheski. That was a little bit of that could have went either way.
Are you surprised? Are you surprised? Really?
I am kind of surprised by the call because it could have went either way. It could have been a no call. It was that close. I'll give it that. It was close.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And if it's a home game, on top of that, homecoming weekend, you would expect him to give Illinois a 50-50 call.
Yes, you would think that, but it's still Big Ten football. So, I mean, you either win or go home.
I'm not trying to make excuses because they got stomped. What I'm trying to say is at least make it competitive. I mean, am I wrong?
Outside, the first 3 minutes of the game were. I'll say that. But after that, it was all downhill.
For comparison, A.J. Bush ran 20 times for 20 yards. DJ Knox, Purdue's running back, A.J. Bush was our leading rusher. For comparison, DJ Knox ran 17 times for 150 yards. So I don't really understand why they kept letting him run the ball that much. it wasn't really it wasn't really needed. I don't understand it. And as far as the rest of our running backs go, A.J. Bush ran 20 times. The rest of the team combined had 11 carries. Reggie Corbin had 6 for 20 yards, an average of 3.3. So I don't know why you don't. He got the ball 6 times when A.J. ran at 20. Okay.
I think I see a problem, Tyson.
Rayvon Bonner, 1 carry, 12 yards. Mike Epstein, 1 carry, 10 yards. Stampley, 1 carry, 6 yards. Everyone else is positive. Everyone else is running the ball well. But, you know what, let's hand it to him 10 times. That makes sense. So I don't know. I'm just really confused. This is why I wasn't excited A.J. Bush was in the game to begin with. He just doesn't seem like the answer. I would much rather have, I can't even remember,
MJ Rivers.
Yeah, MJ Rivers. At least he gives us a chance in the throwing game. He doesn't help us in the running game very much, but we've got Reggie Corbin, Rayvon Bonner, Mike Epstein, Stampley to run the ball that we see can run the ball well. 1 carry, 12 yards, 1 carry, 10 yards, 1 carry, 6 yards. Why not give them the ball more and let Rivers actually throw it? Where A.J. Bush, again, 12 for 25 throwing for 170 yards and no touchdowns again. So I don't know. I just don't really get it.
Especially at the college level. Why would you not want a more 50-50 passing, running in your team on offense? I don't get it. That's why I was so high on MJ Rivers after his 7 quarters of play. I saw more from him than I did from AJ Bush because we know AJ Bush can run the ball when he gets in the open field, but he doesn't have an opportunity to do that when he's only getting 1 and 2 yards, getting dropped in the backfield, getting sacked. It doesn't work. And like you said, I don't understand why our running backs, especially with Illinois' running game being as good as it is, Corbin, Epstein, all these guys, we have great backs. We have a decent offensive line to where when they can get to the second level, they can break off one. We've seen it all year long with Epstein and Corbin especially. But need to get Rivers in the game, need to have a more balanced attack on offense. And, yeah, overall, I was just very disappointed. Very disappointed.
They had half the carries and more than doubled his yards in rushing.
Well, that tells you that's what's it right there. So we're gonna leave it at that. It was just an abysmal game for the University of Illinois. Something's got to change. Hopefully it's next year with the Liddyville movement. But at the same time, if you're one of these top tier recruits, you look at that game and you're like, oh man, do I really want to play here? Playing for Coach Lovie Smith can only go so far. You know what I'm saying? That can only go so far. We're just gonna have to figure that out come next season. This season, we're 3-3. It's sad to say that I'm chalking this up as a loss. But with that Purdue game, I'd be lucky if we're going to win another game this year. Even Nebraska, who's starting out 0-6. Moving on, we're going to stick with the football theme here, Tyson. We're going to move into the NFL. Was it week 6 as well?
Yes.
Week 6 for this week?
Yep.
I've already lost track. Your Cowboys this weekend, they took it to my boy, the boat, Blake Bortles. Give me a little insight as to what happened Sunday.
Well, I said what needed to happen is Scott Linehan needed to figure his stuff out. And that's exactly what happened this week. He went back to 3 years ago. Dak and Zeke's first year, it wasn't a lot of stand in the pocket and let Dak read the field for this long. It wasn't a whole lot of thinking. It was more play with your legs, play with your heart, play with your head instead of playing with your head. And that's exactly what he did. He figured out what he wanted to do. He went back to the bootlegs. He ran those on probably 50% of the plays this past game against the Jaguars. He ran that probably 50 to 75% of the plays Dak's first year. And it seemed to work out. Dak plays well on the run. He plays well while he's moving. And it gets him away from all the pressure, and it lets him think less and react more. Once again, since they actually got the offense going, it opened it up for Zeke, another 100-yard game. No problem. But the defense Sunday was just absolutely outstanding. Keeping Blake Bortles and the Jaguars offense to 7 points, and that 7 points they probably shouldn't have even scored anyway. It was absolutely nuts. Jalen Smith, again, flying all over the field. Him and Leighton Vander Esch. Leighton Vander Esch,
That's my guy.
They ended up getting an interception about halfway through the game, about 30 yards downfield. Leighton Vander Esch is the one that caused the receiver to drop the ball so Jeff Heath could pick it off. The dude, I wasn't really expecting much, even as a first-round pick, but he has more than exceeded my expectations. And he's been very pleasant to watch, especially covering down the field. And I never thought I'd say that from a 6'2" middle linebacker. But he can cover, he runs well just like Jalen Smith, and they both hit like trucks. So everything kind of came together. Scott Linehan figured himself out. which helped the offense figure itself out, which made the offense actually comparable to the defense. So both sides of the ball looked really well.
Sean Lee goes down. Van Der Esch steps up in a big way. It's big shoes to fill in the absence of Sean Lee. I mean, am I wrong by saying that?
Yes, absolutely. Sean Lee is one of the best premier middle linebackers in the game today. Him, Luke Kuechly, there's very few guys.
Von Miller.
Yeah,
let's not forget Miller up there in Denver. Yeah.
But yeah, that's huge. That's huge shoes to fill. So being able to step in and compete like he's doing and get these tackles and cover well, I think a lot of it has to do with Sean Lee. He didn't just up and die. He's still on the field. They've got basically another coach, and a coach that's got years of experience and good experience, and knows exactly what he's talking about and how to do things. So having Sean Lee on the side is definitely helping them out still. It's really helping that the middle of that defense mesh and just shut things down.
So going off of that, does this 40-7 win, coming out smacking the Jags in the mouth, honestly, does this change their season? Does this finally get the Cowboys to click?
Well, they got the McGregor Billy walk. I think the swag helped them out a little bit this week, gave them a little bit of confidence, and I think with this kind of win against this kind of team, 40-7, that's a big win. Doesn't matter who you're playing, let alone the Jaguars, who are one of the favorites for Super Bowl contention this year. So to be able to come out here and hold Blake Bortles to under 150 yards, to hold the rushing game to under 65 yards, this absolutely puts them back in contention. It does nothing but good for them. I came out and said I was very worried for this game on our last episode. And they showed me that there isn't really anything to worry about. They just needed to click. And I think we see that. They're clicking. They play the Redskins next week. So they're going into Washington, D.C. very high on themselves. And it's against a defense that they can actually compete against. So it does nothing but good for the Cowboys. This kind of win is major for them. It definitely helps them at least win a few more games down the road. They have that confidence. They know what they can do.
Real quick, I want to touch on that. I think this said more about Jacksonville than it did for Dallas, and I don't know how many people actually looked into it that way. But Jacksonville, like Tyson said, is supposed to be, especially after last year making it to the AFC Championship game, they're supposed to be a team that can compete for the Super Bowl. Correct me if I'm wrong, but
people picked them to go 13-3 this year, 14-2, and easy walk into the Super Bowl.
Right, and with that said, going up against the Dallas team whose defense is really stout this year, but whose offense has been hot and cold through the first 6 weeks. Well, 5 weeks up until that game. And to see Jacksonville's defense get picked apart by a quarterback, and no offense because I like Dak, but by a quarterback that only threw for over 200 yards one time this season.
Yeah, he didn't even throw for 200 this game.
Yeah, that's incredible to me. Especially with a guy like Jalen Ramsey that talked all that trash about Dak Prescott and the Cowboys, and just, man, that was just so impressive of a win. And I will give credit where credit's due. It was a good win for them, but I don't think that it defined Dallas's season yet. I think that game will happen next week in Washington at FedEx Field against Alex Smith and company. I think that's going to be the season breaker for me. Not just because the Redskins are in first place right now in the NFC East, but because everything is so close between the Cowboys, Redskins, and Eagles. Defending Super Bowl champs have struggled this year. Many people figured they would just because it was Philly's first Super Bowl. The Super Bowl hangover was going to be real with this team. But when you think about Jacksonville, especially in that division, and what this loss is going to do to their psyche, I don't know. I got a big question. I got a bigger question mark next to the Jaguars than I do the Cowboys right now.
Well, Jalen Ramsey, I want to touch on this before we move on to our next game. He was the one that was coming out and he kept running his mouth about Tyreek Hill, right, against the Chiefs last week. Mm-hmm. Well, Tyreek Hill tore him in half.
Torched.
I mean, he couldn't even.
The cheetah.
The second half, Jalen Ramsey couldn't even keep up with Tyreek Hill. I mean, Tyreek Hill is a lightning rod of a human, as Pat McAfee calls him. So that's a whole. I think Jalen Ramsey might have just shot himself in the foot. Honestly,
he's digging his own grave. Every player he talks trash about ends up torching him the next week.
Well, and this is what I was most disappointed about was in the post-game press conference when he's sitting by his locker after the game. Reporters asked him about his commentary. He had nothing to say. He kept saying no comment to every question they tried to push at him and kept dodging everything that they were trying to talk to him about. And if you're going to talk that kind of trash and then go out there and get your ass kicked, you need to back that up.
Yeah.
And he didn't.
moving on off of that, Gavin, it was a rough one for us Saturday being Bears fans. I'm going to say this. I'm going to lead it off with this. This is a loss that I am personally, as a Bears fan, not going to put on Mitchell Trubisky. He did everything he possibly could in the second half. First half, I'm going to tell you this, he was a little shaky. I understand that coming off of a bye week.
And I called that on
You called it.
a week ago. I
But
said coming off the
second
bye.
half, he came out and he did his job. But what I'm going to get at, I'm not even going to talk about Trubisky other than he was 22 for 31 for 316 yards with 3 tutters and 1 interception, 1 pick.
Great game from the quarterback.
Great game from him. What I want to talk about is Matt Nagy did not have these guys practice all last week going into Miami. And our defense kind of showed that. So going into this game, throughout the rest of the 5 weeks, we had 18 sacks on the quarterback. All right? Against Brock Osweiler, we had 0. Khalil Mack was silent. Leonard Floyd, he was getting to the QB a little bit. Akeem Hicks was putting pressure on Osweiler. So what are the thoughts?
Well, let me say this. Khalil Mack went out with an ankle injury for a brief moment there in the second quarter.
My heart was beating very fast.
Yes. And real quick, let me touch on this. Those orange uniforms, wow.
I love them.
Wow, sexy. But other than that, let me get back to the real question. Not practicing all week, I don't agree with. I don't care what level you play at of any sport, anywhere, at any time. Practice is practice. Unless you win the Super Bowl, I don't think you deserve a week off from anything. But with that said, these guys on defense, I don't know what happened. The first 4 games that we played, because we were 3-1 going into this game, plus the bye week, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. We had, like you said, the most sacks in the NFL, and now we've dropped to 4th in total after this weekend, which is, I know we missed a week, but that's still disappointing for me, especially being a Bears fan. On top of that, this is Brock Osweiler. This isn't even Ryan Tannehill. How are you letting this guy, who's been a joker for the past couple of years? No, go ahead.
I was talking with Tyson about this off of air.
Yeah.
He brought this to my attention since I'm running this part of the episode right now. Ryan Tannehill is a mobile quarterback, Tyson. I want you to elaborate with Gavin on this. Is a mobile quarterback, and that's where the Bears have thrived, is sacking the quarterback, is guys like Rodgers or whoever that move out of the pocket. Osweiler does not move out of the pocket. We cannot get to him. So I feel like I'm going to agree with Tyson. That maybe had something to do with it. But I want you guys to talk this.
Well, here's the thing. The game plan was for Ryan Tannehill because we anticipated him playing. So I understand that completely. And they're two polar opposite guys when in the pocket, right? Because, I mean, I watched Ryan Tannehill when he went to Texas A&M. I mean, I've seen this guy for a long time. But Brock Osweiler, man, I mean, even in Denver, you're right, he's not mobile. But what I don't understand is even if you didn't game plan for him, our pass rush should be good enough, even without Khalil Mack. With Trevathan and Roquan Smith at linebacker, all the guys you mentioned up front on the defensive line, Leonard Floyd, Eddie Goldman, Akeem Hicks, all these guys, there's no reason why we shouldn't have been able to get to him at least one time. Too often did he have too much time in the pocket to chuck it down the field, and then why our corners forgot how to tackle in this game is beyond me.
It was bad.
It was abysmal. It is the worst tackling
bad.
performance by a secondary I've seen from this team in a very long time. Man, I'm getting heated right now. I need to stay focused.
Yes, calm down.
But I swear, man, after this game, I was so upset, especially after the break that we got on the 1 yard line with that Cameron Drake fumble. I said, well, this is it. We're going to go down. We're going to score. And I felt bad for our Cody Parkey having to kick a 50-plus yard field goal.
I do not blame that on Cody Parkey or Mr. Trubisky. I blame that on Matt Nagy's play calling because on 3rd down, he's going to run the ball.
Absolutely.
And set himself up for a 52-yard field goal.
Yeah,
pass the ball.
When we know Cody Parkey kicks less than 60% from 50-plus yards. So give him a better opportunity, get 5, 6, 7 more yards, make it a better opportunity for yourself to win this game.
Where he's more comfortable.
Not only that, you get him 5 yards closer, and he automatically jumps back up to above 80% for kicking. But you've also ran the last 2 minutes off the clock. So it's a win-win there because even if he still does miss it, you can't lose because you just wasted the rest of the time on a fresh set of downs. So I don't know. It was bad for sure.
So part of it with the lackluster defense not showing up at all, honestly.
I mean, it was 7-0 going into halftime.
Yeah, then it broke open.
They only let up 3 more touchdowns after that. It definitely wasn't their best game yet.
Compared to what this defense has done all year.
But really, I don't really think you can place the blame anywhere. Offense played well. They put up 28 points. The defense played well. They only let up 7 in the first half, and they still kept it even to the end of the game.
In the Miami Heat.
Right. So it's hard for me to place the blame in this game. It was very close. It was a dogfight back and forth. yes, I would have liked to have seen a sack. But that goes along with the mobile quarterback. Now, not that Ryan Tannehill's mobile and going to run for 11 carries and 82 yards like Dak, but they've played Aaron Rodgers, who is famous for moving out of the pocket, making things happen, and they got 6 sacks against him. They played Russell Wilson, famous, moving out of the pocket, making things happen. They got 6 sacks against him. They played Sam Bradford and Josh Rosen in Week 3, famous for moving out of the pocket. We see that Bradford gets hurt every year because he's moving out of the pocket, trying to make things happen. They played the Buccaneers. They played Jameis Winston, another quarterback who is designed to run and move around and make things happen with his legs. You got Ryan Tannehill, again, likes to roll out and throw it. But then you got Brock Osweiler, who completely throws a wrench in things. He will not move. He's much more like Tom Brady or Peyton Manning. Will just stand there. Doesn't matter what's coming at him. He'll stand there. But it's hard for me to blame the defense. They still got 2 picks. They still knocked the quarterback down a lot. They rushed him. They hurried him. They made him throw for almost 50%, which isn't very good. 22 for 44, 20-something for 28 for 44. So he threw almost 50%. The one area that I have a hard time with the defense, this is the first time they've let up a 100-yard rusher all game. What happened to the middle of that defense that Frank Gore can carry the ball 15 times and go for 100 yards?
This old man, over 100 yards.
Now, that's with respect.
Yes, I love
respect
Frank
for
Gore.
Frank Gore.
4th all-time in rushing yards in the NFL. But this man is going to retire, if not this year, at the end of next year. And there's no excuse why he should have over 100 yards against the best rushing defense coming into this week. It's atrocious.
If anybody's going to do it, it's him. Like, I don't know. Very, very confused. That was the one problem I had with the defense. But other than that, I think the play calling is what ultimately set him up for
I'm
failure
just
at the end.
pissed off.
Hang
We
on.
lost to Brock Osweiler.
So, yeah, all right. Well, okay, I'm going to throw a stat at you. 1985, we lost to the Miami Dolphins. Our only loss that season, what happened? Just answer the question.
Coincidence.
We won the Super Bowl.
2006.
We lost to the Miami Dolphins. What happened?
It's a coincidence, man.
No. If history is bound and determined to repeat itself, bam, we should be.
They'll let us down, 18 Bears.
Let me shoot this back at you before we move on.
Look at his mood. Look at his mood.
Let me shoot this back at you before we move on to the next game.
Negativity.
Just answer the question. Is Mitchell Trubisky better than McMahon?
Yes.
Yes.
Is Mitch Trubisky better than Grossman?
Yes.
That's questionable. But
I said what I needed to see from Mitch this week was 2 touchdowns. I would love to see 3 and over 250 yards, and he matched that perfectly. 318 and 3.
Okay, go ahead.
Jim McMahon was an average quarterback on a superior team with a superior defense, plus Walter Payton.
And the same goes for Sexy Rexy.
Absolutely.
It's the exact same situation.
No, that's all I'm saying.
Trubisky
is
talent-wise is better than Jim McMahon.
Ceiling-wise, we haven't quite seen it yet, even though he showed me what I needed to see this week.
That's what I wanted to
If he
hear.
can keep up this kind of performance, 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns every week, if he doesn't fall back to his first couple week ways or last season's ways where he's throwing maybe a touchdown a game, they stand a chance if he can keep up this kind of
But see, that's what I wanted to hear because the Bears still have yet to play the New England Patriots,
next week.
the Los Angeles Rams, and the Minnesota Vikings twice, and we still have to play the Packers again.
I'm not worried about the Packers. I'm not worried about the Vikings.
The Packers lost to the Lions last week, and they beat the 49ers by 3.
And the
Yes.
Vikings lost to the Bills.
Yes, the only reason I say that is because we saw it, and we'll talk about it here in a second, is Aaron Rodgers, another comeback. That's already 2 this year.
All right, so let's move on to that game right now.
Yeah, no, that's fine. And listen, let me say one thing about that first is I'm not reading that far into it because
thank you.
this is the 49ers
Yes.
without Jimmy Garoppolo.
1-5.
It was a 1-5 team.
Could've-
1-4 going into
Could have been
last
2-4.
night.
Could have very easily been 2-4.
Well, with Jimmy G, yeah.
Well, even last night, CJ was Beathard, I believe is his last name.
CJ Beathard.
Yeah, he was he 3rd round pick out of
Iowa.
There we go. So I wasn't expecting too much from him, and they almost stole one at Lambeau Field. So all these people that say it's
That was
another
a fun game to
miraculous yes, it was a fun game to watch, but another miraculous comeback from Aaron Rodgers, the great Aaron Rodgers. I'm not saying this as a biased Bears fan. I'm saying this as a football fan from a statistical and logical standpoint.
Oh, here we go. Stats.
They shouldn't have won that game
No,
by
they
any
shouldn't.
sense. By any sense. They needed 10 points, and the Niners crapped the bed. That's what happened. 2 minutes, less than 2 minutes left after they scored that touchdown. They go get the field goal to win it.
So that's all we need to know from that game. Is that Aaron Rodgers threw them on their back in the last 4 minutes of the game.
That's what it is. Put every single one of them players in his backpack and went right up the mountain and get him another W.
So
That's
let's move on to another great quarterback in the league, the best. Honestly, I'm going to say it, even though I don't like him. I don't have to like him to say that he's the best quarterback in the league. Tom Brady.
Statistically?
Oh, just stop with the stats.
I'm just saying.
So Tom Brady and Patrick Post Mahomes.
Jesus, Cale.
That was a fun game to watch. He's laughing. That was a fun game to watch, too. I thought Patrick Mahomes was going to win that game. But Tom Brady doing what Tom Brady does.
There was no doubt in my mind New England was coming home with a win.
What did I read the other day that rookie quarterbacks or second-year quarterbacks, whatever, their first start at Gillette, they're 0-25.
It's quarterbacks under the age of 25.
That's it.
All time in Gillette. In the last, 6 years or something like that.
Yeah.
So, man, that was a fun game to watch.
It was.
Tight. I'm glad that happened. I thought for a second, that the Chiefs were going to bring that home.
I want to get Tyson's opinion on this just because I know we have someone that actually respects, I'm not even going to say his name, the quarterback of the New England Patriots.
TB12.
So, I know, really, I would like to get your opinion on this because it was a really good game. I thought for a second there in the second quarter, right before halftime, the Patriots were going to blow it wide open on the Chiefs. But go ahead and give us your analysis.
Well, I first thought this is a potential AFC Championship matchup. That's what it felt like the entire game. Incredibly competitive throughout the whole thing. Patrick Mahomes came out incredibly shaky. I think he had read in on some of those statistics, got a little bit in his head, came out poorly. 2 interceptions in the first half. That was it. Came out in the second half, threw 4 touchdowns. One of them for 80-some yards, one of them for 70 yards. Was just getting it to everybody to do whatever they needed to do. Absolutely was just making things happen. But his mistake, they were too fast. They were too good. They got the ball down 7 with 3 minutes to go, and they scored in 12 seconds.
Against Tom Brady.
It's incredible that they scored. They needed a score. If you're going to score. Great. But you got to at least, hell, even if you're the guy catching the ball there, 12 seconds for number 12 is 12 seconds for number 12 is more than enough, let alone you give him 2 minutes to drive the field and do whatever the hell he wants. Really, it was a great game. Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes very evenly matched out the whole thing. The Patriots' defense was incredibly lackluster, minus the 2 picks in the first half. They basically shut down, but you can't really blame them. They're playing against the best quarterback in the league so far this year, in Patrick Mahomes. And we see that he came out and threw for 350 yards and 4 touchdowns. They're going against Kareem Hunt, one of the best running backs in the league, led the league in rushing as a rookie last year. Tyreek Hill, the cheetah, can't catch this man. He caught the ball for 142 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Also had the encounter in the end zone with those fans down
that
there.
That fan is now arrested.
And is not allowed back in Gillette Stadium.
Well, not only that, the
for life.
Patriots are pursuing charges on him as well. Prosecuting. What English?
They're prosecuting him.
There you go.
But yeah, it was just an incredible game all the way around. Tom Brady played great. Once again, you give him the ball with 2 minutes, it's over. There's nothing you can do about it.
It looked so easy for him.
Sonny Michel, 24 carries, 106 yards, 2 touchdowns. Sonny Michel was absolutely nuts. James White was still good, even though Michel got the majority of the carries. But yeah, I really don't have anything bad to say about this game. It was an incredible game to watch.
So, what was I going to say? I've lost my train of thought.
Lost your train of thought? That's all good. If I was going to add one more thing
Sorry,
to this.
I kind of rambled there.
No, it's okay. If I was going to say one more thing, it was I think we see now that, and I want to say this because I don't think the Patriots defense is that good. And let's be honest, they're not. They're abysmal, if I'm going to put it bluntly. Mm-hmm. But we see that Patrick Mahomes is vulnerable. I mean, he's not Superman. We saw him in the first 3 to 4 games of the season, and he looked unstoppable. Even with the Chiefs defense, which is, I believe, statistically worst in the entire league.
They've let up more points than any other team this season, haven't they?
Yeah.
Yes.
Pretty close.
The good news, they are basically the worst defense in the league statistically, but their offense is almost one of the best. That's the only reason they're winning games is because they're outscoring people.
They have the worst defense and a top 3 offense. I mean, that's a very interesting combination. One that we haven't seen in a while, I don't believe. If they're able to claim that top spot at some point. But I just think it's very interesting that we see that Mahomes is human. He's not Superman. He came back down to earth the past couple weeks. I believe it's 4 interceptions on the year now in total.
Yep.
So this is good news for everyone
Didn't
else.
have one before last week, right? And then he threw 2 last week, 2 this week.
Yeah, so it's good news for those defenses out there that are trying to stop the Chiefs because anyone can score on them. Hell, us 3 could go out there and score a touchdown on the Chiefs defense. Let's be honest. I mean, it's that, but we'll probably not. But you know what I mean. It's that easy. It's that easy.
I'm a big Patrick Mahomes guy now.
Old Kermit.
I love this. Yeah, dude, listening to his voice kind of cringeworthy, but I love this guy. All right, we're going to keep it rolling here. That's our NFL talk for today. Tyson's going to take it away now before we get to the NBA and the NHL. I'm going to kind of speed it up here because we got some fun stuff I want to do in the NBA because this is going to be controversial today.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
I know. I've seen your information.
We're going to keep it moving. Tyson's going to take it away with our Week 8 high school football recap.
Hang on, I miscalculated here real quick.
So Tyson's got a miscalculation.
So we're going to have to allow him to fix that.
To continue, our first game of the week this week was Muhammad against Lincoln. Cale and Gab both went with Lincoln, but Muhammad squeaked out a win in this one, 14-0. Defense actually showed up. They didn't let up 64 points again like they did against Effingham. Squeaked out a win. So I'm glad I took them. A little bit of faith goes a long way there, fellas. PBL taking it to Watsika this week in a very close one, 24-22. Gavin went with Watsika. Can't blame him. He's picked them in every week so far, so I can't really blame him for that loss there. But me and Cale both took the W on that one. Cale, any thoughts on your boys from Watsika? Or Gavin, any thoughts on your boys?
I was about to say, man, this is my
team.
I mean, nothing. I mean, it was close. They did their job. Just came up a little bit short, and we'll see if they can hold it together next week.
In your defense, PBL and Watsika, that game can go
either
any direction.
Absolutely.
I believe it.
North, south, east, or west.
For me, this was Watsika's playoff hopes in this game, and they let it slip away. Very minimal chance they'll get a spot at 5-4 if they can win next week, but I'm just a little disappointed.
Okay, and Gavin, any reason you chose Unity against Rantoul this week? Because I know you've been one of our biggest proponents for picking Rantoul so far this year.
I had a feeling after that win that they got last week. I
Please
figured
tell me it didn't pay off.
It paid off. Cale and I went with Rantoul. They lost 22-14 against a Unity team who's now 2-6 on the season.
Go Rockets!
Can't believe they won. Eagles, I will never pick you again. Sorry, you let me down for the last time.
Fly Eagles.
Moving on, we got St. Joe against I don't remember. They played Olympia. That's right. They won 28-7. Basically closed from start to finish. It wasn't even close. So we all took home the W on that one. Bloomington against Peoria. We all went with Bloomington again. Ended up a little closer than I think we were thinking. 51-40. Peoria put up a fight against a good Bloomington team, but it's all right. Too little, too late. East Peoria and Pekin. Cale, give me your reasoning again why you went with Pekin, because they ended up pulling this one out 28-13.
So I've followed Pekin football just because I like their school mascot. I don't know. Why not?
That's fair.
It's a bigger school than what we're used to. So if you're going to follow a bigger school than what me and you were used to, Tyson, find one that's got a cool mascot.
All right, that's fair. Normal West playing Central this week. Central again put up a hell of a fight. Moves to 5-3 on the year now with this loss to Normal West, 35-20. Not really a whole lot to say about that. Central lost to a very good team.
Yeah, it's nice to see them stay competitive.
Right.
Stay competitive with these guys because this is a team that's pushing to make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Effingham took it to Mattoon this week. I was the only one that believed in the Flaming Hearts. 41-21. It wasn't really close again from start to finish. They kind of took it to Mattoon there, but that is okay. Caneland against Morris. We all went with Caneland. I think we had all kind of come to a consensus pick there last
Once we
episode.
figured out they were like 30th in the state.
Right.
Which they're only going to move up after this week.
50-14, they smacked down this Morris team. So yeah, no problem there. And Urbana with the surprise of the week, getting absolutely pummeled by Manual, 44-16 against the other worst team in the state. And
They got waffle stomped.
yeah, I've got no words for that.
I never thought that I would hear those words. Manual stomped Urbana.
They
never
didn't beat
thought.
them.
It was a murder.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm in awe. I am in awe that this team. I would have expected, maybe like a 20-21 game.
This is Gavin's alma mater. Keep in mind.
I was expecting 7.
Hey, I want you to know I have not played. I have not played for this team in over 4 years.
Still graduated.
I'm not affiliated with them right now.
Still graduated.
All right.
Still got a diploma.
So, man, I'm hurt. I'm hurt. I'm physically hurt. This loss kills me. And I know they're going to get destroyed by Normal West. If we can lose by less than 40, I'll be happy.
But my miscalculation earlier, I forgot to mark Lincoln's loss for Cale this week.
Damn.
So I took the week again at 7-3, moving to 58-22 for the year. Cale 6-4, coming in second this week with that Lincoln loss. We are now tied again.
I busted it.
58-22.
Sorry.
Gavin, a rough one again, my man. 49-31 on the year after going 5-5 this week. Any thoughts? Any ideas what you're gonna do next
you
week?
can still break 50.
Man, I play basketball. Get out of here. I don't follow high school football very much.
All right, well, we're coming into a hot week 9. We'll have those picks for you on Friday.
All right, moving on. Most controversial topic we're going to have of the day, and this is going to be the remainder controversial topic of the year because all three of us follow different teams in this room. All right.
Well, let's be clear. I follow every team.
All right, okay, well, whatever. You know what I'm saying. So, it's opening night in the NBA, National Basketball Association. We're finally here. We have Boston taking on Philly at Philadelphia, and then we got OKC at the 9:30 game here in America. I don't know what to be 7:30 there, 7:30.
Yeah.
So over here in America, it'll be 9:30. OKC at Golden State. So those are the two games for tonight on opening night. Those are two solid games to watch.
Absolutely.
You got two of the best teams in the East, two of the best teams in the West. So today we're going to rank our potential or way too early playoff teams, 1 through 8 in the East, 1 through 8 in the West. I'm going to kick mine off with the East. We're going to go around the room. Actually, you know what? Let's start with the West. Let's do the East last. Let's start with the West. I'm going to do mine first. So I got number 1, obviously Golden State in 4. That's it. Houston in 2nd. Oklahoma City 3rd. The Pelicans 4th. Utah Jazz 5th. Portland 6th. Minnesota 7th. And I got Memphis 8th. Thoughts?
How the hell do you have the Timberwolves making the playoffs?
Jimmy Butler's still probably going to be there this season. I think the trade rumors have kind of cooled down, correct?
They have, but
so the trade rumors cooling down. They still have Karl Anthony Towns. Jimmy Butler's still going to play his heart out no matter where he's at, and they still have Andrew Wiggins. Now I understand there's a lot of bad chemistry, bad mojo running around that locker room right now, but I still feel like they're going to win games. I mean, you can't disagree with me on that.
No, they'll win games. Do I think they'll win enough in a Western Conference that's even more stacked than it was last year? Which I can't believe that I'm saying that. No, I don't think that they'll win enough to get in. There was a couple teams last year that were 3 and 4 games over 500 that couldn't make it in. That finished 9th and 10th, and then the East would have been the 5th seed. It's a problem. Do I think the Timberwolves can repeat that? No, mostly because the 3 seed and the 8 seed last year were only separated by 3 games apiece. That's 6 teams separated by 3 games apiece. Not to mention that if you go all the way down to the 11th seed, I believe it was only a separation by 6 games, which is absolutely mind-blowing. For me, obviously we agree. Houston, 2nd. Golden State, number 1. I don't think that's really...
They're going to win at 4 anyway. It's not really an argument to begin with, but your 3 seed, could you please tell me who you had at your 3 seed again? OKC.
How did you come to that conclusion? I'm just curious. It's not a bad pick. I'm just wondering.
Do you need my solid answer?
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
Russell Westbrook.
Who's out for the next 6 weeks with an ankle injury?
It don't matter. Next 6 weeks, he'll be back after them 6 weeks, and he'll probably still get him to the playoffs single-handedly. He's going to be out here, and he's going to average a triple-double.
No, I know he'll get to the playoffs. What I'm saying is, with his absence, will they win enough games without him to reach the 3 seed?
Well, they got Jerry and Grant still, right?
Yeah.
Jerry and Grant. Okay, Steven Adams, Jerry and Grant. They got Dennis Schroeder. Dennis Schroeder, I feel like can replace. Now he's not going to be able to fully replace Westbrook. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like he'll be able to carry him enough to keep him in contention for the first 6 weeks while he's gone. I still feel that way.
Okay, I'll let that one slide. I had the Utah Jazz at number 3.
That's where I'm putting the Jazz too. I think not enough teams to give them some respect this year.
You guys run through your picks.
Okay, no, that's fine. All right, so in order, I had the Golden State Warriors, Houston Rockets, the Utah Jazz. That's my top 3. I had Oklahoma City at number 4 because of Westbrook's absence. I do think him and Paul George, like you said, Dennis Schroeder.
And without the cancer of Carmelo.
Yeah, Carmelo's gone. They're bringing in Nerlens Noel, who I think will have a bounce-back year this year. So I think that Oklahoma City will be a lot better than people think. Addition by subtraction with Melo. Number 5, I have the Los Angeles Lakers. LeBron James and company, I think, is good enough to win 49, 50 games in the West. Just because of all the veterans they have on that team, especially Rondo. I know they added Lance Stevenson, JaVale McGee, Michael Beasley. I mean, these are misfits that I think can come together and form a team that will be more surprising than people give them credit for. Number 6, I had the Denver Nuggets. This is a team that barely missed the playoffs last year. They lost a tiebreaker with Minnesota for the 8th seed. I think everyone coming back healthy. I think the addition of Isaiah Thomas off the bench will be bigger than people think. Not a guy that I particularly care for, but if he accepts his bench role, I think he can excel. He did that with the Los Angeles Lakers in the second half of the season last year. And also, if Michael Porter Jr. can come back sometime in January or February, I think he'll be a key addition for that team. Number 7, the San Antonio Spurs. I think this is still a playoff team, minus Kawhi Leonard. I think DeMar DeRozan, LaMarcus Aldridge, Rudy Gay, Patty Mills, Jakob Poeltl. It's Coach Popovich. I think that he'll get the job done.
That's why they're not in my playoff.
And that's fine. That's fine. I think DeMar DeRozan, obviously a downgrade from Kawhi Leonard, but I don't think does enough damage because the Spurs still made the playoffs with Kawhi Leonard missing 70 games last year.
Yeah.
In my 8th seed, I couldn't decide between the New Orleans Pelicans and the Portland Trailblazers, two teams that last year met. I believe it was the.
Bounce that one off real quick. Sorry, go ahead.
I can't even keep it serious in here with that, man.
Don't edit that.
Wow. All right, let's just move on. Okay, I'm going to take the Pelicans to make the 8th seed over the Trailblazers just for the simple fact that they swept them in the playoffs last year. Tyson, that was disgusting. Go ahead and let's hear your list.
All right, we're consensus on the first two, Golden State, Houston. I feel like that one's pretty clear, cut, and dry. Gavin, I'm with you on number 3. I'm moving Utah up there. I think they're not necessarily a sneaky pick this year, but I don't think they're getting the respect that they deserve. I am Cale. Portland, I agree with, could make the playoffs. Minnesota and Memphis, I'm dropping them out. I don't think they really stand a chance here. New Orleans, I'm with you, though. I'm keeping them at the 4 seed. I believe in that completely. My last 3 teams, I'm a little split on between Portland, L.A., and San Antonio and Denver. If one of those teams is going to miss it, I think it's going to be Denver. But I have a hard time putting LA at a 6 seed, so I'm going to put San Antonio sneaks up into the 6, and then LA and whoever the hell else I said. No, I think Portland's going to miss it this year. I'm going to put Denver at the 8 and LA at the 7.
Yes.
So Golden State, Houston, Utah, New Orleans. I didn't write it down and I forgot, but yeah.
I'll tell you what. Right now, you'll see a list of all of our picks on screen if you're paying
Oklahoma
attention.
City.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Sorry, drop out Portland and Denver. Oklahoma City gets the 7. LA gets that. Okay, final answer. LA gets the 6, Oklahoma City gets the 7, San Antonio gets the 8.
Can you run through that one more time?
Golden State, Houston, Utah, New Orleans. I forgot where I'm at. Damn it, I don't remember who I said was 5.
This is too good, man.
I had this.
This is too good.
And then I lost it.
We'll get through it. It's okay. You can do it.
Okay, work with me here. I'm going to write it down this time so I know what I'm saying.
Okay. One more time.
You seriously don't think that Minnesota, while he's doing this, you seriously don't think Minnesota can make it?
Absolutely not. No. I think Jimmy Butler's going to be too much of a cancer in that locker room as much as I like
take
him.
it easy now. That's my dude.
No, I love Jimmy. I'm not talking about he is just a cancer in that locker room for other people. The millennials in the locker room, they're not going to get along, and that's the way it's going to be. That's all I'm saying.
So with that, I agree. Jimmy Butler's going to make himself vocal, but at least when he's going to make himself vocal, he's going to be able to back everything up he's saying about it.
No, and I'm not
he sits
arguing.
There and he screams at the GM and Tom Thibodeau says that you need me here, you cannot win without me. He's 100% right.
He's absolutely right, and I'm not going to argue that. That's what I'm saying. Him doing that and being vocal is going to be his foot out the door.
That's what he's trying to do, honestly. If he wouldn't be vocal if he wasn't trying to leave. I don't think. 'Cause he just doesn't strike me as that kind of guy. Does he?
I think he was vocal in Chicago, and I think Minneapolis is a different place.
Yeah, I agree with him being vocal in Chicago though, because Hoiberg is not the answer.
No, I thought he was vocal with Tom Thibodeau when Derrick Rose was there, when he was healthy, and Taj Gibson, Joakim Noah, that whole crew. I think he was vocal then.
Yeah, he was. But it wasn't near as pronounced as what he got when he was with Fred Hoiberg and now with Tibbs in Minnesota.
Fair enough. Well, he also had the controversy with Dwayne Wade and Rondo and that whole triangle that was trying to be successful there. Which it was. They made the playoffs. I mean,
right.
But how successful can you be in the Eastern Conference, right? Let's just put it that way.
All right, piss on it. I'm switching it up again. Golden State, Houston, Utah, New Orleans, L.A., OKC, San Antonio, Phoenix.
All right, there we go. There it is.
Phoenix, no.
Whoa, wait. I just realized what you said. The Phoenix Suns?
I screwed it up too many times. I'm throwing it in there. Phoenix makes the playoffs, I believe.
If that ain't
I'm
a
leaving
take.
it at that. DeAndre Ayton. Here we go.
That ain't a take. All right, we're going to leave it at that, Cale. Let's move on.
I forgot who I said was 5, so I said piss on it. I'm just throwing someone random at 8.
Moving on to the East. This is going to get controversial because the West End we don't care about in this room, but we're going to cover it because it's still basketball. The East. Number 1, Boston. Number 2, Philly. Number 3, Indiana. 4, Toronto. 5, Milwaukee. 6, Cleveland. 7, the Raptors. 8, the Bulls.
Get out.
I ain't going nowhere.
Get out.
No.
Get out. I can't believe you, man.
You get out of your own house.
I can't believe you, man.
Why?
You really have the Sixers and the Pacers ahead of the Raptors.
Yeah.
Unbelievable, man. This I'm not even a fan at this point. I'm just in awe.
Good, because I'm gonna be in awe when I'm right.
You think Kawhi Leonard isn't better than both of those two teams by himself?
Not with Miles Turner, not with Victor Oladipo, Aaron Holiday, Thad Young. No, not by himself.
Kawhi Leonard?
Kawhi Leonard's not.
Kyle Lowry?
They,
4-time All-Star.
I get that, man.
2-time Defensive Player of the Year.
This Indiana team is hungry. I get it. They got a taste of the playoffs last year. They damn near beat Cleveland.
Okay, I'll tell you what. I'll just run through my list. I'm not even gonna. You hear that? That's my list right there. Okay. Boston Celtics. We agree. Best team in the East, no doubt. The Raptors. 2nd.
No.
Yes.
Nope.
The 3 seed, Philadelphia. The 4 seed, Indiana. Okay. I can't put them any higher than 4. I haven't seen what they're able to do. They lost in the first round. Granted, to the Eastern Conference champions, but they lost in the first round. Okay. 5 seed, the Milwaukee Bucks. 6 seed, the Washington Wizards. I think John Wall, Bradley Beal, Otto Porter,
so we agree
Kelly
at 5,
Oubre.
we both have Milwaukee.
Yes. I don't think Giannis is good enough to give them a top 4 seed. No, I don't. But I do think he is up and coming. He might even win MVP.
He needs help.
Maybe not this year, but next year. I have the Cavs at 7, so we're close. We're close. And then 8, I had the Miami Heat.
So 8 is honestly a toss-up.
It is. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I had Chicago in there because I'm still a Bulls fan, and I did throw some biases in there. But no, I'm sticking with my 1 through 3. I'm sticking with them hard. I'm not knocking Toronto. I just feel like Philly's too strong with the process there. The process is now over. With Mikal Fultz, Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid have all had time to mesh. You got Redick coming off of the bench. So, therefore, I feel like Philly is going to be good. Ben Simmons is now coming into his 3rd year.
Still can't shoot.
Well, there's some
just
validity to
saying.
that, but he can get to the rim effectively. And he's going to throw it down in your face.
That's fine. Kawhi Leonard will take it from him before he gets there.
I can't wait to watch that game.
I can't either.
I want to watch this with you, so that way when Philly runs all over Kawhi.
Hey, division rivals for a reason, man. I can't stand the Sixers. Go ahead, Tyson.
All right, so I'm with you on the first 2, Gavin. Boston, Toronto. I think that's a given. I'm still confused why you've got Toronto at 4, but moving on. I've got Indiana at 3 and Philly at 4, so I swapped those 2.
That's fine.
I like Indiana a little bit better. I saw more in the playoffs out of them. I believe in Oladipo.
I mean, Philly won a playoff series. I'm just saying.
Yeah, true. But I like Indiana a little bit better. 5 and 6. You had Milwaukee at 5, I believe you guys did.
Yeah.
I put Milwaukee at 6. I've got Washington as my 5.
Okay.
I think the addition of soft man over there, Dwight Howard, I think he helps them turn things away.
Well, he won't be playing for the first couple months with some back issues. So if that maybe sways your pick.
No, I still think Washington's got a lot going on over there. They haven't quite figured it out, but when Dwight Howard comes back, I feel like he definitely helps. And I think they'll win enough throughout the first couple months that when he gets there, it's not going to matter.
They still got John Wall and Brad Beal.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I threw them up in there. I've got Cleveland at 7, just because. It's Cleveland, man. They still got
Kevin Love,
Yep.
Colin Sexton. Got a good team there.
I threw Chicago at 8 as well, just because, like you said, 8 is a throw-up pick. And I still like Chicago. I'd like to see them win, so I threw them.
I would like to see the Bulls make the 8 seed. I just think Miami. I looked at it was either the Heat or the Bulls. That's what I had. So
Zach LaVine looks good.
Yes.
Once Denzel Washington gets back, Wendell Carter is looking phenomenal.
I'm just basing it off of. I like Dragic. I like Jason Richardson. I like Justice Winslow.
Oh,
Magruder.
wait a minute. Hang on a second. Wait a minute.
Kale's got Toronto at 4 and the Raptors at 7.
What?
It just
noticed that.
registered to me.
What?
My 7 seed. Hang on. Continue talking. I forgot. I was doing this in class. Leave me alone. Shh. Don't tell my mom.
I'm just glad that we got that on audio because I'm not going to cut this. I'm just going to leave it as it is. So for those of you that want to see what happens when I don't cut things out, this is what it sounds like, just us talking a bunch of gibberish. But no, Tyson, like I was saying, I had
Washington at 7.
Washington.
Yeah,
okay, that's who we were going
sense.
with. But like I said, the Heat, there's just too many players that I like more than what the Bulls have going on just because they've missed the playoffs the last couple of years.
I think the Heat have a better chance. I agree with you there.
Right.
Realistically, I think the Heat get the 8. But I would like to see Chicago.
I would too.
So.
I especially against the Celtics. I would love to see Chicago-Boston first-round series like we did a few years ago, but we'll have to see how that goes. But moving on, Cale, I know you said that you had some NHL stuff to get to because we are running out of time. Let's go ahead and hear some stats, man. NHL.
All right, so I just want to throw some stats at you, Gavin. You're going to enjoy it today.
Oh, I know I will.
So I'm going by points because I don't know about Tyson or you. You're finding a new profound love in hockey.
I am, and I love it. I do.
I don't know about Tyson, but I strictly care about points. I do not care about goals scored. I do not care about strictly by assists or anything like that because points and goals, or goals and assists, contribute to points. So therefore, I'm a points guy. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to talk about the top 5. Number 1 through 3 actually are all from the same team. Yeah, they are from the Toronto Maple Leafs, as much as that pains me to say that.
Yes, sir.
Number 1, Austin Matthews. He's
my boy.
Obviously a center for the Maple Leafs. Right now, he's got 10 points total. Through 6 games, he's got, or 16 points, Through 6 games, he's got 10 goals, 6 assists already. That's amazing for a second-year guy. Third-year guy, second-year guy. That's amazing. Number 2, Morgan Riley from Toronto, a defenseman. 7 games. He's got 3 goals, 10 assists with 13 points. That 10 assists is huge, and I can guarantee you that he's got 10 assists, and Matthews has 10 goals. So he's probably assisted on every one of Matthews' goals. Number 4, this is kind of surprising to me. Old Patrice Bergeron. He's been in the league for a while in Boston. Not a Bruins guy, but I do love when the Bruins beat the Pens. Go Boston. 5 games. He's got 5 goals, 6 assists for a total of 11 points. And number 5, Mitchell Marner, another Toronto guy. Through 7 games, he's got 4 goals, 7 assists, 11 points. So the top 5 is stacked with Toronto Maple Leafs. And then Tyson, our next guy, the Chicago Blackhawks, we have 2 guys in the top 15. Number 11 being Alex DeBrincat. Through 6 games, he's got 3 assists, 6 goals for a total of 9 points. Johnny Taves, in 5 games has a total of 5 goals, 4 assists for a total of 9. And Jonathan Taves' first 5 goals this season came in the first 3 games.
I would like to say one thing about the Hawks. I believe it was the game on Saturday, like you said, and they all came out wearing the same jersey, and the guy's name is escaping me.
Stan Mikita?
Yeah, they all came out
Well,
wearing.
they are wearing the patch, 21 this season, for the entire season, and at the UC, the United Center, they have 21 behind both nets for the remembrance of Stan Mikita, the best Blackhawk of all time. That's not arguable.
Yeah, I just thought that was really nice, the way that they commemorated him in his
So a little
time.
bit on him. That guy has done so much for the organization, including cups, and not only outside of the Blackhawks organization, he did so much for the community of Chicago. It was unreal, bringing hockey to life there. And Stan McKee is just a hell of a dude. So I personally never got to see him play because he was way before any of the 3 of us in this room. I wish I could have got to. I've watched a lot of highlights back before guys wore helmets. Real hockey players. But yeah. So that's all I got for today. I just wanted to go through some 3-stars. I just wanted to go through some point leaders.
All right, just going through to finish up with the stats here before we wrap things up. Maple Leafs have a 3-point lead on the second-place leader in the Eastern Conference, the Carolina Hurricanes, with 12-9, and they haven't played here in a few days, but they are hot. Yes, they are.
Taylor Hall and Scotty Darling. That's all I got to say.
Well, and I don't mean to be that guy, but I think the absence of their goalie, a certain someone that may or may not play for the Chicago Blackhawks, has really done them well this season.
He's supposed to be back Thursday, Corey Crawford.
Yeah.
So that's good news. He's coming back off of his concussion.
And get Ward, I believe.
Cam Ward needs to get him out of that net.
Out of there.
Corey Crawford, he's going to be in there for probably a couple more games. I'll give Cam Ward a total of probably 20 games total this season, just for the fact that Crow's going to need a break because we're going to need him through the second half of the season.
Hey, good news for the Hawks, though. They still haven't officially lost a game this season yet.
No,
which is
great.
great.
Good news. We have 2 overtime losses. That hurts, but
it does, but it's not a loss.
Getting
Absolutely.
points out of it.
Getting points, and like you said, it's all about the points, which is the most important thing.
I'm a points guy.
But with that said, that's going to go ahead and do it for us today, so we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. If you liked what you heard, make sure to leave us a like, rating, comment in the box below, whatever you please. Also, make sure to hit that big red subscribe button, and maybe consider hitting that bell icon to the right of it so you never miss a beat. Also, don't forget to follow us on our social media page on Twitter at @sports_twin. With that said, my name is Gavin Campbell. That was Tyson Snyder, Cale Fleming. We'll see you guys next time.
Peace.